And welcome back here to South Florida on Radio Row, getting ready for Super Bowl 44 alongside Jeff Gordon. I'm Jeff Fernetti, and we're joined here by Chris Collinsworth. Chris, thanks so much for your time. How are you?
Jeff and Jeff, good to be here. Makes it convenient. I love this show already. It's
easy
perfect.
to get our names right. There's no doubt about it. But, this is just an unbelievable event. I mean, here you are. You're working for like 8 different people down here, though. I mean, you're cashing checks from so many people. But, I mean, you've played in a couple of these games. You're doing, the biggest games of the week. But are you just amazed at the size of this event now as you walk around and do all these interviews and go to all the different events, how big this has become?
I love it in many ways, but it becomes such a celebration of what is the most important thing to American sports fans. I mean, let's face it, there is nothing that even comes close. I love baseball, I love basketball, I love, the other sports out there, but America stops during the Super Bowl. And somehow or another, I have become relevant for a week of the year. I don't know how that happened, but it's because the game and the NFL season is so big. We've never seen television ratings across the board higher than what they are right now. And as big as it's been in the past, it just keeps growing exponentially, and I don't know where it's going to stop.
This matchup is a lot of fun for us this week. The quarterback's getting a lot of play, but I'm also intrigued by the wide receivers. You've got a lot of guys that were not drafted in the first round who are phenomenal targets. Colston for the Saints, Collie and Garcon for the Colts. It just shows you, it's amazing watching these guys develop with their quarterbacks, and makes you wonder how a lot of people miss these guys.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch from a lot of different standpoints. I tend to think that people have underestimated the New Orleans Saints here, and the wide receiver is a big part of it. Reason you talk about that, but you've got the 2 best players on the field are the 2 quarterbacks. I think everybody would agree with that. But to me, the 3rd best player on the field is Dwight Freeney. And if Dwight Freeney is not able to go in this one, all of a sudden now you begin to look at some of the matchups on the outside, because the Colts have always been able to get pressure with 4, which means they can play their coverage with 7 guys back there, and they've got a lot of young guys, Tim Jennings and Jacob Lacey and some of these kids that are going to be put in a position if they have to start blitzing because Freeney is not Freeney. Then now these guys are going to be put in some one-on-one situations they haven't been in. So now you've got the guys like Meacham, and you've got Colston, and you've got all these different guys, Shockey, apparently Reggie Bush, you got to factor into this thing, Lance Moore, who are really tough to handle in one-on-one situations. And all of a sudden now Drew Brees goes from looking really good to maybe better than Peyton Manning in this game, and it's a major factor in the game.
Chris Collinsworth is with us. He'll be telling us about the Sprint NFL mobile app that gives fans around the clock NFL Network TV coverage of all the Super Bowl events, and we'll tell you all those details here in just a moment. You played in a couple of these games and ended your career playing the Super Bowl. Do you have special feelings whenever it just gets around this time, thinking back to when you were a player and getting ready for the week? And the media certainly wasn't this big, but still, it's the biggest game. It was pretty big, even then. The stage, yeah.
But yeah, I played in the Super Bowl. My last game that I ever played was in the Super Bowl right here in Miami, Super Bowl 23, and Joe Montana. We were up 16-13 with 2 minutes to go, and the 49ers have the ball on their own 8-yard line. And one of our rookie receivers sitting on the bench goes, "We got him now, man. This thing is, they haven't moved the ball all day. We're going to be partying tonight." And I go, "Would you please shut up?" "Oh, what is the I go, "Would you look and see if number 16, Joe Montana's out there in the huddle or not?" Sure enough, 92 yards later, hits John Taylor, and they give us the ball back with about 20 seconds to go. So this place has special memories and some not so good memories.
Is that the John Candy drive? The one where he points out John Candy in the huddle? That's like a famous story. I don't know if it's true.
He's sitting there and he goes, "Isn't that John Candy over there?" And everybody starts breaking up and laughing, and here they go.
Now you get a chance to see, talk to Joe. Do you ever just say, "Come on, man, you took the ring from him"? I mean, do you ever give him a little shot?
Every time I see him, I ask him how my rings are doing. He's got 2 of my rings, so yeah.
When you look at Peyton Manning, you start seeing he has, I guess, an opportunity if this game goes well for him to start moving himself into that company in terms of a guy that the way he's playing, how cool and calm he is, the way he runs that offense. It seems like he's got a chance to make history if he can deliver big performance.
Yeah, I think that this is a game probably most significant for him because I agree with you. When you combine the 4 MVPs with 2 Super Bowl wins, then I think that you have to begin to say, is he the best? Right now, there's no question he's considered one of the best. And, to me, there's 5 or 6 guys in that argument. But if he were to win this one and maybe one more, I think at that point, even I, who thinks Joe Montana walked on water, and that's who I would put as the best right now, would have to say I think that Peyton Manning is the best because of what he does intellectually with this game. I mean, we just have never seen a guy that it looks like it's unfair. When he comes to the line of scrimmage, and I think the key is the fact that he gets them up to the line of scrimmage so early, and with that hard snap count, gets defenses to reveal what they're going to do blitz-wise. Then he stands up with still 15 seconds on the clock, calls an audible, and gets them into the play that's perfect for that defense. I found myself several times this year going, that's not fair. He knows what they're going to run. It's like, a great hitter knowing fastball, curveball in every pitch. When they get that kind of advantage, it's just too much for defenses to overcome.
It's amazing to me, too, as you look at this game. The Colts are the big favorite, and they got the big quarterback. But, the Saints are no slouch here. When you win that many games, you're the number 1 seed. It's odd to have a number 1 seed be almost like, okay, they're the other team here. They just don't have the hype. As when you get to the on-the-field stuff, sure, the fans are great, the city's great, everyone's kind of rooting for them, but how many people are giving them a chance to win?
Well, I just know that I may pick the Saints to win it anyway because I think the Dwight Freeney factor is that big. That's just the great unknown. I just don't know where he is in this whole thing. But you're talking about the number 1 ranked offense and the Saints. We're talking about a team that was undefeated until, week 13, 14, whatever the case may be. We're talking about a team that played, in my mind, much stiffer competition in the playoffs than what the Colts ended up playing. I mean, no disrespect to the Jets or the Ravens, but that wasn't, the Minnesota Vikings and Brett Favre and what they saw. So this is a battle-tested team right now that has been so good all year. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Speaking of unknowns, Reggie Bush is the kind of guy that could do nothing in this game, or he could blow it up. He could make many great plays, or he could be a non-factor.
Well, just the matchup alone that he causes. When you watch him coming out of the backfield, this guy is almost uncoverable. If you end up with a linebacker on him. And that's the reason I think so much of the key to this game on both sides of the ball is who can run it a little bit. Because if teams can stay in a dime defense against either one of these offenses, then you can kind of neutralize the receiving threats a little bit. If you have to start playing linebackers to stop the run, now you've got to cover Reggie Bush out of the backfield with a linebacker. It ain't happening. That one's just not happening. So much of this game is the ability of Reggie Bush, of Pierre Thomas, and some of those guys to establish a little bit of a running game to try and bring some of those bigger defenders on the field.
Now, for me, you've got, of course, NBC, Showtime, but for me, it's Madden. Is that a fun experience for you? You're the new John Madden voice.
It's unbelievable. My kids play this game all the time, so even when my wife and I are out to dinner, I'm still home parenting, because they can hear my voice. But I have so many people that come up to me and they go, Chris, you are killing me. And I go, what? Because you are killing. I go, what are you talking about? He said, every time I make a mistake in that Madden game, you're killing me.
You're brutal. You're brutal.
I'm brutal. But it is funny when by the time that you go through that, you sit in there for 8 hours at a time doing these things. And you're trying to describe, all right, Peyton Manning just threw his 15th interception in the first half. Somebody take him out and shoot him. What's the matter with this guy? It's crazy to do, but it is fun.
Before we let you go, tell us all about Sprint and all the great things here for the Super Bowl coverage. If you have any kind of mobile app, this is unbelievable.
Well, if you're an NFL fan, you really need to have Sprint coverage because you've got the NFL Mobile Live and you get the NFL Network, you get NFL.com, ProFootballTalk.com, all the tweets from all the players on there. And there's no other service that has all that stuff. It's amazing that you don't have to be in the room to watch all the press conferences and all the things. Just pick up your phone, and it's all from Sprint.
And it's free, as he said, to Sprint subscribers. A data plan can be downloaded, and of course, this app can be downloaded by texting NFL to 7777. Chris, it was our pleasure to have you today. Thanks so much for your time.
Jeff and Jeff, good to see you guys.
That's Chris Collinsworth, back with more on 590 The Fan, KFNS, and KFNS.com.